I'm Alshon, the same day they signed Tory. The Smith beside me, yes. My wrist shine, yes. At all times, catch all signs. Shots fly, no Anakin. Olive Garden, rap towel fit inside a ramekin. Fucking breadcrumbs, turn breadsticks when that text spit. Cause that marinara is so cute. Safety off, you ain't Joku.
Wow, it has been a minute, y'all. Welcome back to the Sports Syndicate podcast after I would call it a long break, but being sick is not a break.
Yeah.
But it is damn good to be back. I am once again your host, the man that bleeds Kelly Green, the South Philly psycho, Dom, and I am joined, of course, as usual, by one of Jersey's favorite sons and one of my favorite people, my man, Nick. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Good, man. Good. Glad you're good. Cheers, man. Kicked COVID's. You kicked COVID's ass.
Yeah, that game went into more overtimes than Penn State a couple of weeks ago, but I got the W, thank God.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm glad to be back, man. It was nice, like you said, a break. Maybe not for you, but maybe for me, not for me. I just wanted to get back, man. So I'm stoked. I'm ready. Ready to get to it.
No, you and me both. I am so happy to be back, and I guess I should say this because a lot of people that knew what was going on had reached out and asked me how I was doing, or you know, just whatever. And I definitely want to thank Nick because he was one of them, and everybody else. Thank you so much for the concern, the support. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be doing this. So let's just jump right into some of this shit because we had, I guess recently the trade deadline came and went. And of course, there was no movement on Desean Watson. There's a big shock.
Yeah.
You know, and I say that as sarcastically as possible because when you have 22 separate civil lawsuits and none of which have been anywhere near cleared from your name,
nothing.
Who's going to want you?
Who's
going to want you? Who's going to trade for you with all that hanging over your head? Like, forget the fact that you're not joining your team and you're sitting out, whatever else. Just that alone, who would ever want to take you on, knowing that maybe one of these days you won't be able to play at all?
Yeah, and we brought it up a few episodes ago. All the allegations. I mean, there's more than over 10. Over 20. I think. I don't know the exact number. That's toxic. That's not what you want. And like you said, nothing's settled. Everything's still up in the air. What's next? We don't know. And I'm glad that he's not on a team because I don't really think he deserves it. You know what? Screw you, Watson.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the actual biggest trade moves that jumped everything off was right after the last show 3 weeks ago. Zach Ertz was traded to the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
I had said something about Max Williams injury looking awful, and he ended up doing something to an ACL. And
saw your
shortly
tweet.
after that, Cardinals reached out, grabbed Zach Ertz, gave up a draft pick and a cornerback that still hasn't seen the field 3 weeks later. So safe to say Arizona won that deal.
Yeah.
But has Zach Ertz looked any much better with the Cardinals than he did with the Eagles?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, he had a good first game. I think he had that long touchdown. If you're a fantasy owner like I am, and I do have Zach Ertz, that was good. But overall, not talking about fantasy, he looks to be an average tight end, and that's kind of what they need. They don't need the best tight end. They don't need a Kelsey. No. They don't need somebody like that, like a Kittle. They just need an average tight end. And it hurts me to say that because I mean, he won the Super Bowl with us. Like, there's a lot of history with him. I mean, the Super Bowl alone. Yeah. He's average, but that's what they need. A team like that who are going places. That's good. That's what they need.
I mean, it's a shame because you're right. He is an average tight end, but when he was going to the Eagles front office, he wanted money like he was George Kittle or
Kelsey.
Travis Kelsey or something like that. And as much as I don't like the Eagles front office, and I might get into that in hometown bias.
Yeah.
They looked at him and said, well, you're not that guy anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they weren't wrong in this case. So I guess getting him out the door and getting something for him is better than just watching him walk out in free agency.
Dude, they did it to Carson Wentz. I mean, I know he wanted out, but see ya, And Nick Foles, he's a living legend. Yeah, we get it. He's gone, so you can't say like it wasn't for the best. And didn't we get a draft pick or no? What did we get out of that?
What, with the Colts or with?
No. I'm sorry, with the Cardinals.
With the Cardinals, I think we got like a 5th round pick and a cornerback named Tay Gowan, who I don't even know and I haven't seen on the field yet.
Damn.
Okay. And he's been there 3 weeks.
So you're right. They won. They won that trade.
So they definitely won that trade. But there were many others following that. And I think maybe none of them were bigger than the LA Rams acquiring Von Miller for a 2nd and 3rd round pick from the Denver Broncos.
Jeez.
I mean, kudos. The Broncos got something out of it, which, they could use in the future to, build that team, maybe add to the offensive line, whatever the fuck they plan on doing. Like, 2nd and 3rd round picks are not anything to sneeze at. But the Rams defense, which was already good, just got so much better.
Dude, they're looking to win now.
Obviously, that's at this point, they're just
screwing around. And I don't know if there's a better team, to be honest. Overall, a complete team. I think there might be better teams, but I think an overall like complete team, like every position, I think they got it. It's just, is luck on their side this year.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue that. I mean, every facet, like obviously getting Stafford a quarterback, they thought they were going to have a problem when Cam Akers got hurt, but their running game has been very good.
Yeah.
Their receiving core is very good. Their offensive line is very good. Then you switch to the defense and you got Jalen Ramsey and you already had Aaron Donald, who we all know is, probably, if not one of the top defensive linemen in all of football. And even Leonard Floyd has been having a tremendous season. Now you put Von Miller with those guys, and you can't double team all of them.
No. And that's the reason why they brought him in,
Yeah, that's all the more reason to bring him in, because it's like, well, if you double team Floyd, then Von Miller's coming from the other side. And if you double team Aaron Donald, then you're probably going to have to, you'll probably have one-on-ones on the outside. One of these guys is going to get to you and vice versa. So it's pick your poison. And I don't know which one you want on that defense. It's almost scary.
Yeah.
But this isn't as bad as, say, sending Ertz for, and getting compensation. But you still have to think the Rams won this trade. It was close. I mean, it depends on what Denver ends up doing and what they get out of it with these picks. But
I'm not sure how much the Broncos unloaded with him. I don't know how much money he was and how much the Rams are going to now pay. I don't know the contract dealings, but they're not a team that's going anywhere. Either. Yeah, they're not a team that's going.
For instance, like Carolina traded Teddy Bridgewater to Denver in the offseason.
Yeah.
Carolina ended up paying Teddy Bridgewater after trading him. So they basically paid for the Broncos quarterback this year. Yeah. I don't know if that's the scenario in LA. Like Von Miller goes to LA, but Denver pays him anyway.
Yeah. Well, you would have to believe, and obviously we don't know, that they unloaded some cash and they got some draft picks. So maybe it's a win-win situation.
When you look at it next year, you take Von Miller completely off the books, then you have significant cap space, draft picks, and you can move forward from there. So, it's close, but you'd have to think the Rams won the trade in that one. And one of those under the radar deals was the Texans sending Mark Ingram back to New Orleans. Which for me, I thought for the Saints, it's a great move because obviously it gives them that second back that they lost in Latavius Murray and a guy that clearly knows Sean Payton's offense because he's been in it.
Exactly.
And he looked plug and play against the Buccaneers this week. He was one of the big reasons they ended up holding on to that game.
Yeah.
For the Texans, it made total sense too. Because they have like 5 fucking running backs.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have Rex Burkhead, David Johnson, Philip Lindsay, and a couple of young guys. So like you don't exactly need Mark Ingram. So if you can get a pick or something and send him off to and send him off your books.
Yeah.
This one, I don't think anybody really wanted. It just kind of feels like a push. Like it was a good move for the Texans. It was a good move for the Saints.
Yeah. And it's funny that you brought that up because, Desean Jackson did not, he's not on a team anymore. But what I'm getting at is when he was with the Eagles the second time around, he was familiar with the plays. He understood, what he needed, what they needed him to do. And he played really well.
A lot of stuff that Doug Peterson was using in his offense came from Andy Reid, and Desean Jackson was already in that offense, so he could just come in, know most of the playbook, and do what he needed to do.
Yep, and that's what I'm.
The same thing with Mark Ingram.
Perfect. I was going to say that. That's exactly what I was thinking.
It's ironic too, because that was the next one I had. Outside of trades, there were like Desean Jackson. He wanted to be traded. They couldn't find a suitable offer for him in time.
So the Rams
ended up releasing him.
That is insane. Because wasn't the first game it was like a deep threat or something.
He's been their deep threat throughout most of this year. I mean, he's caught some big passes for them, like like long touchdowns, made big plays. And I don't know. I guess he just wasn't happy with his role, and he actually asked for the trade. They couldn't find anybody, so they let him go.
Huh.
And now he's just kind of sitting out there, like he's cleared waivers. He's a total free agent. I'm wondering where he ends up landing now.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, he still has it. Obviously, he's not their, a number one wide receiver, but he showed it this year. If it was a couple games, he is still a deep threat, and people, teams need that.
Yeah.
I don't. Please don't come back to the
immediately.
Eagles.
No, I don't think we need him on the Eagles this year, unfortunately, because I do miss him. I still have his jersey.
And I
broke it back out.
Yeah.
Like once he came back, I broke it back out. But just thinking about it, like there's a team in playoff contention right now that just lost a deep threat wide receiver to some really fucking awful off the field circumstances.
Oh.
So I could see him easily landing with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Derek Carr has been throwing bombs all year long, whether it's Ruggs or Zay Jones or whatever. Desean Jackson is clearly still a deep threat and healthy. So if you were able to go get him and plug him in, he could make up for a lot of what this guy was doing. I can't even... I can't even begin to get into Henry Ruggs stuff because it's just fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that guy. I know he's got a couple of felony charges and good.
Yeah.
You deserve every...
Peace.
Yeah. Just
don't...
He gone.
Don't count out the Chiefs or the Giants. I could see him going to the Giants, and obviously Andy Reid, I could see him going to the Chiefs. Not that they need it. But Shepard's been hurt. Yeah, Shepard's been on and off. He's been on and off my bench. He's been hurt. And who's the other one? Shepard and shit.
It feels like Galladay.
There's one
Kenny
more.
Galladay. Yeah. There's another one too. It feels like every one of the Giants receivers this year has missed significant time with injuries. I think the other one's Darius Slayton.
That's it.
And then they had that rookie, Kadarius Toney, and he had a couple of big games, and then he got injured.
Kadarius.
That's a lovely first name. My next child is going to be named Kadarius. No lie. But
I'm going to hold you to that.
There will never be a next child.
Yeah.
But I could see him just going to the Giants for a healthy body at this point.
Yeah, but do you think he would go to a team like that? Like,
I could see him going
to win.
More,
but then again, he's all about the money. I don't know.
I would think at this point in his career, Desean is more worried about winning because he just left one of the best teams in football. Yeah. So he probably wants to go to a place where they're playoff contenders, and that's where Vegas comes in because they're I think 5-2 at this point. They lost their deep threat. He is a deep threat. You could sign him on the cheap, play him this year, and see how it goes. Work something out down the line, or maybe he calls it a career or whatever. But maybe he wants that one last shot.
Yeah,
and a team like Las Vegas or maybe even maybe he goes from the Los Angeles Rams to the Los Angeles Chargers.
Go Chargers!
Because No, you're fine. They've been
Arnold
struggling.
Schwarzenegger.
They've been absolutely struggling the last few weeks. Like it's been a complete disaster.
Yeah. Get into the chopper.
They didn't get to the chopper.
Yeah.
But it's just, it feels like maybe they need another threat to open up guys like Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and that sort of thing. Yeah, sure.
I think Aguilar is their number one. The Raiders, isn't that crazy?
He's with the Patriots now.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he was with Vegas last year, and then I don't know if they traded him or they just hadn't. They just had the rest of his deal. They worked out a trade with us. I can't remember.
Have you ever seen that?
He was with them, and then he went to the Patriots.
You ever seen that viral video from this guy living in Philly, and he says something about, "I caught better than Aguilar," or something. Like there was a house that was on fire, and he was catching like kids from the window. I swear to God, they were throwing kids out.
Really?
And he said something about Aguilar. It was just so funny. I don't know. When you get time, you got to check it out.
I definitely need to check that out because I don't remember that. I probably saw it, but I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and look for that. Like when we get done.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of homes for Desean. I mean, obviously the Lions could use anyone because I can't name one person that plays wide receiver for the Lions. But do you want to go there? And the answer is probably no.
No.
Like, do you want to go from a team that lost one game to a team that hasn't won any? Probably not.
No.
Do you want to go from a team with a great record to a team like the New York Giants who are
exactly?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, it's just he like you said, he's a veteran. I think
the only other team I can think of,
yeah,
honestly, would be the Ravens.
Oh shit, I could see that too.
They already have one deep threat with like Hollywood Brown, but to add him would take pressure off of him. Sammy Watkins has been hurt again. So to get him in there, add another weapon for Lamar since this running game hasn't gone the way it's been going the last few years, that would make some sense.
Something like that.
But and then we got the news, I think it was like right after the trade deadline, that Derrick Henry had to have foot surgery.
Don't even bring him up.
I know it hurts. He most likely will miss the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So the Titans went and immediately got in touch with Adrian Peterson
all day
and signed all day to the practice squad, and within days brought him up to the roster. Like this isn't an elevation. He's just here now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's Derrick Henry.
No.
Maybe back in the day, but not now.
Oh my God, better. I don't know. That's another day and another time.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You might not be wrong there. That's definitely something. That's like a special. We could talk about that all day too.
Yeah, that's debatable for sure.
But how do you think all day is going to end up working out in this Titan offense? Like,
he didn't lose anything, right? Was he with the football team last year? Was that him? I forget.
I think last year he was with the Detroit Lions.
Oh, and that didn't go well. But the year before that, whatever team he was with before the Lions, he looked good. He looked like he didn't miss a step. And this is going to be interesting. We're talking about a lot of veterans: Von Miller, AP, Desean. It's interesting that this was a pretty quiet trade. When it comes to trading, there wasn't a lot of movement.
No,
and,
not really.
Obviously, they had to pick up somebody because Derrick Henry, was out. AP in my, I think he's going to do well. Obviously, like you said, he's not Derrick Henry. He's not in his prime anymore. But
he's not Derrick Henry. But at the same time, I think he's like less than 500 yards behind Barry Sanders for second all time on the rushing list.
Yeah.
With 9 games left, I think he could pull 500 yards.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he's bounced around a lot since leaving Minnesota. Like he went to Arizona, he went to Washington. And I think last year he was with the Lions and he led them in rushing, even though they were a terrible offense.
Yeah.
And I still think he's got something left to
give.
He does. Like the guy has always been a physical freak.
Yeah.
And as much as I know he's not going to be Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
I don't know that Titans offense really misses a beat without him. If Adrian Peterson still has something left in the tank.
that's a good point because they do look good, but Henry is a big part of that. It's going to be interesting. I'll say that. I'll say that. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens because Henry, he may not be a locker room leader. Maybe on the field, he's a leader in that way. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not a Titans fan. I don't know what goes on.
He's a workhorse, that's for sure.
He is a workhorse. That's a great way to describe him. AP, I don't know if he's a locker room leader either. I think he was a pretty quiet kind of guy. He just showed himself, his work on the field. So it's going to be exciting.
He's been a distraction at times when all that stuff came out about him picking a switch for his kids and things that. There's always been somebody on a team that's been the vocal leader of the team or the offense, Like he's in Minnesota, Brett Favre's there. He's in New Orleans, and Drew Brees is there. Yeah. Even in Detroit.
Is Tannehill a leader? I don't know. He seems like an asshole to me.
I'm not even sure the Titans know.
Yeah.
But,
they're winning.
They're winning, and even that last game they had against the Colts, they got down, and Chris Henry, I'm talking about the other Titan, Derrick Henry. Yeah. He had 28 carries for like 64 yards.
Yeah.
So they had pretty much bottled him up, and the Titans were down big, and they came back.
Yeah. Well, Wentz won that game for them.
Wentz helped, but they came back in the first place because of Tannehill's arm and AJ Brown and that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't leave them dead in the water as long as he can provide them with some semblance of a productive running game.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Like if Tennessee's the type of team that can win a game when they spot their opponent 14 points and their lead back has 28 carries for 60 yards, you're going to be okay.
Yep. I don't even know if he's going to be their starter. I think they have somebody there. I don't know who it is. I can look it up. But...
Oh, God. Yeah, they have like a third down back that they've been using with Derrick Henry, and I can't remember his name right now. I know he's young, and I know he's more of a pass catcher, but I think the plan is to come in and make all day the starter. Like you're gonna carry the ball. We're gonna use this kid on third down.
Yeah,
you're gonna be Derrick Henry's replacement, and I'm not all that mad at that.
No,
it's not a bad idea. I mean, they could have gone and traded for somebody like Mark Ingram, or I know the Colts were trying to work something out to get rid of Marlon Mack, and he had a few big years before getting hurt, and it has kind of been healthy, but doesn't get used much behind like Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines.
Yeah.
So, they could have done that, but why go? And it's not exactly Desean Watson situation, but it's similar. Like, why go and throw draft picks at somebody and do whatever when you can go and sign this person and bring them in and they're serviceable. So now you can let your all world running back heal while you continue to make a playoff push.
I got it here. Jeremy Nicholas.
Okay.
Yeah. Yet to touch the ball more than twice on the ground in a game this season. It is unclear just how the Titans will use Mick Nicholas.
Oh, Mick Nichols. Okay.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Only 2 times. Yeah. AP's there.
Adrian Peterson's your starter.
Yeah.
Hey, he's got fresh legs. You can say that though.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the last veteran that's just kind of sitting in limbo because it happened a few days ago was Odell Beckham. Just never seemed to fit in Cleveland. Like he's had his problems with Baker Mayfield. He's had his problems with his role in the offense. He's just had his problems since the day he walked in the door.
Yeah.
And I guess having 15 million reasons to stay can only make you stay so long.
Yeah.
So the Browns ended up working out a deal. They released him. He should clear waivers sometime this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And nobody has yet to pick him up. Like, obviously Detroit and the worst teams in the league get first crack. And then as you drop down, maybe somebody can put a claim in. But if you put a claim in, that means you have to pay the rest of his like $15 million salary this year.
And that's a lot.
Look for that man to clear waivers is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if he does...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just... That, and as well as, we talked about locker room leaders. Well, he's the opposite. He's toxic. As good as he is. And it's a shame because I'm rooting for him. I've never... obviously he played with the Giants and, we're Eagles fans. But still.
Yeah, that's kind of...
He has a lot of mental issues. It seems like that. So I root for those kind of people because, I don't know, it's a good story. I want to see him land on a team, but he needs to clean up his act, man. He does. There's no excuses. He's a veteran, He's been in the league for a long time. You need to step up, dude. And go ahead.
It's sad because, you could say, well, he's cut from the same cloth as like Terrell Owens and Chad Johnson or Ocho Cinco or whatever. And those guys were great talents. They put up huge numbers. They did whatever, but they were also humongous distractions and
prima donnas.
Yeah, and prima donnas and cost themselves a spot on some pretty good teams.
Yeah, because
they just couldn't keep their mouth shut, or they just couldn't. They just couldn't straighten up their act. Yeah. And there is a worry that maybe he's headed in that same direction, but. He didn't seem to talk as much in New York as he did in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So maybe a lot of that comes from frustration. I don't know. It's hard to really pin down unless I could actually talk to the guy or somebody that knew him and be like, what the fuck is going on?
I think he needs a veteran, to be honest. I think he needs somebody like Aaron Rodgers, somebody like Tom Brady to settle his ass down because Baker Mayfield is not the answer. He's still having issues, in himself. He's still not the locker room leader. I know he's a grown-ass man. If he wants to step up, he's getting paid millions of dollars. I get it. I understand that. But
that's the thing. Do the Browns even think that, Baker Mayfield is the leader, let alone the answer at this point?
Yeah.
Because he's been up and down and he's had these issues with guys on the team like Odell Beckham and eventually you got to look at it and say, well, we could give this guy big money, but do we believe he's actually worth it?
Derek Carr, same situation.
Derek Carr, exactly. Only I'd probably pay Derek Carr before Baker Mayfield, to be honest.
I would.
Because at least he's a pretty he's a pretty humble guy. He's a decent teammate. He's good. Yeah. He's a good solid quarterback at his position, and you can't really say that about Baker Mayfield.
No.
But I guess the question becomes like, where does OBJ land next? And I did like what you brought up. Like if he ended up in Green Bay, with Aaron Rodgers, once this whole stink clears up, I'm not even sure what that's about, or I would talk about it a little bit more.
Me either.
He tested positive for COVID. He said he was immunized instead of vaccinated. I don't know. I don't know.
It's too much politics.
He's just going to be gone for 10 days. I was gone for 3 weeks. Okay, get over it, Aaron. Relax.
Yeah. Exactly.
Stop fucking up, Aaron. That's all I'm.
Yeah.
But if he ended up in Green Bay, like on the other side of Devontae Adams, it would be a good fit.
Yep.
You got a good leader in Aaron Rodgers who can kind of keep him, on the even keel.
Oh, he will. Yeah.
The only other spot that I could really think of that I think would be perfect for him was like, let him go home. This is an LSU kid. Let him sign with the Saints.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably would have been better off if Jameis Winston were there and he had a more solid quarterback. But Sean Payton's offense and his skill set are like the perfect fucking combination.
Yeah.
And they just found out they're going to lose Mike Thomas all year as they were getting ready to take him off the PUP list.
Yeah.
They realized his injury was more severe, wasn't healing properly, so they shut him down for the season.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a single Saints wide receiver that has more than like 300 yards receiving in the entire year.
Not a chance.
Yeah. If you go through stats, I think as far as wide receivers yardage, the Saints are like second to last in the NFL. And
It's
so,
crazy. Yeah.
as good as they are, or as good as they've been before Jameis Winston got hurt,
Yeah.
you might need a little bit more talent, regardless of whether you're going to stick with Trevor Siemian or you're going to go back to Taysom Hill when he's fully recovered or whatever. Odell Beckham would be that guy.
Yeah. He needs to go on a team that has veteran, and even if it's a coach, like Belichick, somebody like that, to put, make sure he knows what he's doing.
By this point, I'm not saying he's Belichick, but I would put Sean Payton kind of up there with those type of coaches.
That's
he's
true.
been in New Orleans forever.
Yep.
He's developed a culture, especially in New Orleans, because
they had a losing record. I don't know when
under Payton. I don't think they ever have. Maybe year one, and then after that, it was just all winning seasons, the Super Bowl. They're nipping at the Bucs' heels for the division lead.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, I think the team with the lowest amount of wide receivers as far as receiving yards is the Atlanta Falcons, and they're playing each other this week. But
nice.
But it would just. I think Sean Payton could keep them in check. They have some veteran leaders on that team.
Yeah.
Even a guy like Malcolm Jenkins, who was a very verbal leader in our locker room for years, is in the Saints locker room. So there's a lot of pieces that could kind of keep his personality in check. Sean Payton could utilize him perfectly.
Oh yeah,
that would make sense. The only other thing I could see him in Green Bay, or bust. Really, I don't know.
The Eagles. I don't think we need a wide receiver, right?
I would love to have a guy like him because of his talent. But then when you look at the team,
the coaching staff,
he's going to take one look around that locker room and go, I know more about football than anyone here.
Yeah.
Including the head coach, including whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I would steer clear of him.
Yeah.
If I were the Eagles.
You're right. Because we're basically transitioning as much as we don't want to think that. We're not competing. So.
Well, that's like the perfect segue to get into hometown bias, because
let's do
it. The last few weeks with the Eagles, we had been talking about it. Run the damn ball. Run the damn ball. And the game against Tampa Bay, which was the last one we covered, they were pass happy all the way through, and in the fourth quarter they started using Miles Sanders. They got back into the game, and they made it close before ended up losing like 30-22.
Yeah.
And again, all that screamed was run the damn ball.
Yep.
Because had you started it earlier, then maybe you would have been in better shape late in the game, but you didn't. So therefore you came up short. Then they went out to Las Vegas, and it looked like they got it. The very first drive, man, they just ran down the Raiders' throats, went straight into the end zone. After that, all downhill, like no runs, all passes, get the shit kicked out of us. Then you come back and they go into Detroit, and you're like, if they do this against a winless team, they're not, that winless team won't be winless anymore.
Yeah.
And so what do? They, without Miles Sanders, mind you, they run 30 times for over 240 yards.
Yep. Incredible. Scott.
Yeah, Boston Scott and Jordan Howard both had two rushing touchdowns.
Insane.
Each.
Yep.
And they blew the Lions away.
Yeah.
And all I'm thinking is like, where has this been? Because I know you're saying we're not contending, but if this is the game plan, we would be contending.
Yeah. Yeah.
That defense looked completely different, being able to run the ball and control the clock, just like in Atlanta.
Yeah.
To a point against San Francisco, but they got cute and it cost them.
Yeah.
It blows my mind, dude. It's like, okay, I don't know much about Nick Sirianni, but I know the two teams that he was on last. Last year, he was with the Indianapolis Colts. He was their offensive coordinator. They had one of the best rushing attacks in all of football.
Yeah.
Prior to coming to Indianapolis, He was with the San Diego Chargers the year that they had Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler, and they had one of the best rushing attacks in football.
Yeah.
So now you get a head coaching job, and you're known for creating one of the best rushing attacks in football everywhere you go, right?
Yeah.
So what's the one thing you don't want to do?
Yeah, become pass happy.
You don't want to run the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the equivalent of like somebody bringing in Bill Belichick as the head coach, but they don't want to run his offense. They don't want to run his defense. They just want Belichick to be the head coach. Then what the fuck is the point?
Exactly. Yeah. And it makes no sense either. And then the game against the Raiders, you brought up. The first quarter, we looked really good. The first 15 plays, we looked really good. And it showed that Sirianni, you watch football. The first 15 plays are scripted.
Mm-hmm.
And that looked good. Sirianni looked good. So he knows what he's doing. He understands the playbook. He understands the concept here. It's just the little things, that I don't get. Like, run the damn ball. Yeah. You know that. I mean,
if you pay attention to the press conferences, like week in and week out, they keep saying it. I don't care if it's Nick Sirianni or Jalen Hurts or whatever. We have to run the ball. Before Sanders got hurt, we have to get Miles Sanders involved. And then the game would come up, and they just wouldn't.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. But
it really doesn't.
We have to be careful with beating the Lions. We beat the Lions.
Yeah, it was the Lions.
As much as, that felt good as a fan to see us kick some ass, 44 points. Like, that was really cool to see. And it's going to help the locker room, but it's the Lions. So what can you take away from that? A good win, moral victory, the locker room, they're going to be happy. They kicked ass. I don't know.
I think if you look at it, if you really look at it, the two games that they ran the ball more than they threw it were the Lions game last week and the Falcons game in the opener.
Yeah.
They won those two games by a combined score of 78-12.
Yeah.
Like, those games were not close. Now, I know the Lions are winless. Atlanta's sitting at like 3-4. I'm not saying they're great teams.
Yeah.
It should prove to you.
Yeah.
It should prove to you, like, this is our formula. We can win a game if we do this. Yeah. If we run more than we throw it.
Yeah.
We can win a game because we're controlling clock. We're keeping our defense fresh. Yes. They're making plays for us. Yes. Then it allows Jalen Hurts some opportunities in the passing game that he's not going to get if we just make him throw 50 times. Or it allows Jalen Hurts to get out and run in spaces because now people are focusing in on the running backs. It makes the offense run smoother. It takes some of the pressure off of Jalen. It definitely takes a lot of pressure off that defense. Because I don't care how good you are, when you're out there for 3/4 of the game, you're going to wear out and you're going to get beat.
Yeah. Speaking of that, it takes a lot of pressure off the rookie wide receivers who have been dropping the ball. So run the damn ball. We've said it, 4 times, 5 times already? I mean, even he goes
that's just
on,
this week.
Yeah. Sirianni goes on to WIP. I don't know if you listen to the morning show. It's a Philadelphia morning show. And they ask him the same question, why aren't you running the ball? And he always, dilly-dallies. He doesn't answer the question. Run the damn ball. He knows what we need to do. You brought it up. Even against the Lions, even against a shitty Atlanta team, we look good because we ran the ball. If we did that against the Bucs as much as we wanted to, I know we did it more than the other
you can
games.
Point at that too. Yeah. Like we got back in the game when we got Miles Sanders in the running game going in the fourth quarter, but we waited until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And at that point, the defense was burned out. The game was out of hand. It was too late.
Yeah. And you brought it up too. Boston Scott had 2 touchdowns. It doesn't matter who the running back is. Run the damn ball.
Jordan Howard finally came off the practice squad this week for this game. He had 12 carries for over 60 yards, and 2 of them were touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he just came up.
That's a sign, yeah.
Not that I personally, I thought we should have kept Jordan Howard because he and Miles Sanders were a great 1-2 punch. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But it's just the one thing that I've had a problem with the Eagles with for so long
is
no matter who the head coach, we always have the same goddamn GM.
Yeah.
Howie Roseman is operating on like his 5th coach now at this point.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
He's gone from, I believe he was brought at least part of the staff when Ray Rhodes came in like 2000. Okay. Then he was with Andy Reid. He was with Chip Kelly. He was with Doug Peterson. And now he's with Nick Sirianni.
It's insane.
This is the same man. Yes, I will give him all the credit in the world for 2017 because he helped rebuild the team that Chip Kelly destroyed.
Yeah.
But it doesn't excuse him because this is also the same man that, if Eagles fans recall, built what was called the Dream Team.
Oh, God.
From the old Vince Young quote, "Oh, snap, Jeez. Dream Team." They brought in him. They brought in Nnamdi Asomugha. They brought in all these big, fancy names.
Yeah.
And they absolutely sucked.
Yeah. Yep.
Sucked out loud. That's on your resume, Howie Roseman, along with a lot of other things.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that we drafted when we already had that position filled were on your watch. How about Kevin Cobb? Anybody remember him?
Unfortunately, I do. Yes.
Right? How about I know he won a Super Bowl and he did some things for us. But Nick Foles was taken ahead of Russell Wilson. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you want to go, I know he's not the happiest guy in the world, and it's nothing against Jalen Hurts. We got all these picks. If you want to throw a few of them at Seattle for Russell Wilson next season, please do.
Yeah. I saw that too. I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah,
everybody attached us to the Desean Watson thing, and I thought if we're going to do this for anybody, it is going to be Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
End of list.
Yeah.
Like there, you want a couple of these first round picks we're stacking, then you give us Russell Wilson and we'll let him go. Other than that, you can keep your quarterback. I don't care who you are.
Yeah. It's just odd that he's still there, Howie. I mean, even Ruben, he won it in 08, 09. We went back 2010, 2011. I don't know exactly when he was, relieved of his duties. Yeah.
And he shouldn't have.
But he finally left. They finally booted him. There has to be something. I know on talk radio.
That's always, I know it felt like forever, but it was like maybe 3 to 5 years. With Howie, it's been like 20 and 5 coaches.
Yeah.
In the NFL, usually you get rid of a coach, you get rid of a GM, and you start over and you marry the two. You don't just bring a coach in and say, okay, you got to work with our existing GM most of the time. You certainly don't give one GM 5 separate shots at the same thing with different coaches.
He's got to have something on management or something on the owner and the owner's family. There's something. I don't know why he's still there. He's
got to have like video of Jeffrey Lurie in the locker room with an Eagles cheerleader or something. Yeah. I don't know at this point, but it's got to be big. It's got to be big for him to be here at this point because it makes no sense anymore. It's like when they were – because going back, like you had brought up the Carson Wentz trade and that kind of going back to Doug Peterson's firing and Carson Wentz's trading and everything else. Even that offseason, I was sitting there saying, we don't need to do any of this. Yeah. We need to fire Howie. Yeah. We need a new GM that can come in here and breathe some life into this roster because Howie's moves are why we are where we are today.
Yeah.
This is why Carson Wentz is where he is right now. He's definitely played better this year.
Yeah.
And he's the same guy.
Yeah.
It shows. Yeah. I'm sure, at some point, Doug Peterson will come back to coaching and he'll probably end up with a winning team again.
Yeah. Yeah. And think about this, too. This upcoming draft is probably one of the biggest drafts for the Eagles. I don't know when we could even say that. How many picks we have in the first, round. Yeah. And you have Howie, who we could have had Jefferson. Honestly, we could have had Metcalf, but we got who? What was his name? I don't even remember.
JJ or with Metcalf, it was JJ Ortega-Whiteside.
Yeah. What?
Who?
Stupid. Yeah. Just.
I feel like the New Day. Who?
Yeah.
This is
a pivotal
and it goes on.
Yeah.
It goes on. It's like. You had Donovan McNabb in his prime. Instead of building around him, you drafted Kevin Cobb. Then you had Carson Wentz in his prime, and instead of building around him, you drafted Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Or you passed up on this guy for that guy. It's a long-standing pattern for Howie Roseman.
It's scary because
he's still here.
This is a pivotal moment for the Eagles. Like I said, this draft is huge. We have how many first round? I think at least 3 or 4. That's a big deal.
I mean, we're gonna have our own. I think we're gonna have one of Miami's because we traded down with them in last year's draft. Then we'll probably get a first rounder from the Colts because of Carson Wentz and his playing time.
Yeah.
So that's at least 3.
Yeah.
And and a couple, and maybe Indianapolis's won't be extremely high, but like the way our season's going, ours might be kind of high. Miami has the second worst record in all the NFL.
Yeah.
So, if we end up with like a number 2 pick, a top 10 pick, and then a pick at the end of the first round, are you really sitting there thinking, man, Howie's got this. He's going to make the right choice.
Looks like we have 2, and like you said, depending on Carson Wentz, that'll be 3. We have 1 second round, 1 third, 1 fourth, 3 5, maybe 4 5. So, like I said, big draft. It doesn't. The rounds, as much as they do matter, they don't. You got to find that player. Tom Brady. I know he's the easiest example, but you got to do your homework. I don't think he can do it. Obviously, he can do – well, I don't even know if it's obvious. I mean, Devontae Smith was a good pick, but that was a gimme. So I'm just saying in the later rounds, what can he do? Can he capitalize? If it's an obvious pick for the first round, second round, then, okay, anyone can make that,
Yeah. So it's when you get into those decisions where it's like, okay, so we have DK Metcalf and JJ Ortega-Whiteside on the board. I'll take JJ. Or we've got Nick Foles and Russell Wilson available. Yeah. I'll take Nick Foles. And again, I love you. I love you, Nick. But are you Russell Wilson? No.
No, we could have had 2 or 3 Super Bowls if you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Would we be searching for a quarterback right now had we drafted Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
Probably not. Yeah. Would we have needed Carson Wentz? No.
Yeah. If we had Wilson, we would have had statues on every corner of the stadium.
Right.
We had one for Foles. He won
one of the streets. Yeah. One of the streets leading to the stadium would be named Russell Wilson Boulevard. Just renamed.
And then
fuck that.
Yeah.
So, it's hard to trust Howie with 3 first-round draft picks.
Fuck
it really
him.
is.
I don't trust him.
It's hard to trust him at all.
Yeah.
It's just, this is the same guy who, brought in Alshon Jeffrey, but then wasn't willing to let him go and wasn't willing to trade him even when people were calling for him, but was so quick to get rid of Torrey Smith, who was actually productive.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Dude, a Super Bowl is a Super Bowl, and that is what it is. It's our only Super Bowl, and we made statues from Nick Foles. There's a statue of Nick Foles. It's time to move.
Accomplishment.
It's time to move on.
It's one accomplishment in 20 years.
Yeah. You got a huge-ass draft coming. You got a lot of first, second, third rounds. You need somebody new. I don't trust him. I don't want him. Say goodbye. Good day, sir.
Good day, sir. Exactly. Get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
But it was it's definitely, it's like I don't know about the coaching staff, but I know who put it together, and I know that man quite well at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, but it's also so in other situations in other leagues, sometimes it's the player. Because we've had the NBA season jump off, and believe it or not, the team with the best record in the Eastern Conference and the 3rd best record in the NBA right now is the Philadelphia 76ers.
76ers. Sixers.
Right, they are 7-2.
Yeah, insane.
And the only teams that are technically better because they played one less game are the Golden State Warriors and the Utah Jazz, who are both 7-1.
Yeah, yeah, and I think Curry and Thompson are both healthy, right?
Thompson's still on his way back, but Curry is definitely healthy and killing it. That Warriors team, I'm amazed they even lost a game. And they don't even have Klay Thompson yet. When they do, it's like you might as well just hand them the trophy and get it over with. Just cut the season short. It's COVID, whatever. We know they're going to win. Here, have it.
Yeah.
But it's you expected Golden State to be better this year with a healthy Curry and a few guys coming back and Klay Thompson and that sort of thing. You expected, like the Jazz were a good team last year, so they're going to be good this year. Okay. I don't think anybody expected the Sixers to be sitting on top of the Eastern Conference without Ben Simmons, with Joel Embiid banged up.
Yep.
Tobias Harris is now in the health and safety protocols, and he's been for a couple of games. These are our this is our big three right here. Maybe one of them is playing limited minutes.
Yeah.
And the team is 7-2.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces that are not with us anymore. Like little, players that aren't, Ben Simmons or, Embiid. So it's
true, but a lot some of the guys
Covington, like he could hit threes,
But everybody talks about Steph Curry. I gotta give a major shout out to Seth Curry.
Yeah,
because that dude has been going off at the beginning of this season.
Yeah,
he's shooting like 44% from three. He's averaging close to 20 points a game the last few. He led us in scoring in a couple of these games. I mean, he has stepped up, and I love it. He's one of the reasons that the Sixers are where they are right now. They've got bringing in Andre Drummond and I can never get his first name right. Georgie Niang from Utah.
Yeah,
those were big pieces coming off the bench, and they've played well. But like Seth Curry has really stepped up, and I'm enjoying the hell out of that. I'm glad to see guys stepping in and actually giving you your money's worth.
Yeah.
This is not a situation where it's like, well, I guess I'll just phone it in. Even young guys like Tyrese Maxey, I'm fucking loving this year. Like they are tremendous, and it's getting to the point where it's like, can we just trade Ben Simmons for anything, for the depth, for whatever? Because now we've got this situation where he's saying that he's not in a good place mentally, and he needs to get treatment before he comes back. The Sixers have offered him everything. We'll give you a counselor. We'll help you with it. And he's turned it down. Then they want to know what he's doing for treatment, and he won't tell them.
Yeah, it's bullshit because the whole injury thing too. The doctors looked at him and approved everything. He's ready to go back, and now it's mental illness. And you know what's screwed up too? That he's using this. It's not something you use. Like injuries I can understand, but mental illness, that's screwed up. That's messed up because people go through it. The young tennis star, she couldn't perform because she wasn't there. That's mental illness. That's serious. Don't fuck around with this bullshit.
Look at Lane Johnson.
Loser. Exactly.
Look at Lane Johnson talking about his anxiety and his depression and everything, and that's why he'd missed some games. But
he
was straight up about it on social media to his team, to whatever, and people understood. Ben Simmons is using this as another reason to just not show up.
It's bullshit, man.
He figured, if I say this, I'll get paid. He thought maybe he'd end up getting paid, but then the Sixers started finding him, and they put his money back in an escrow account, and they did all this stuff, and they're like, yeah, we can do this too, dude. We can just keep going around in circles, or you can show up and play. Or you can work with us somehow because you didn't want to work with our shooting coach. You didn't want to practice.
Yeah.
Now you say you have mental health issues. We're offering you help. You won't take it. You won't tell us what you're doing to get treatment.
You know what needs to happen, Dom? The big man needs to step in. The commissioner, he needs to step in, and he needs to do something. Seriously, that's where it's going to go next. I don't see anything because you can't force him to do anything. It's just
true.
He's a lame duck. He's going to sit there and he's going to stay and he's going to wait for whatever to happen. You know what? Obviously, we want him to get back on the court so he can perform as well as he can, so we can trade him. He's a good asset, but he's not he's more of an ass. It's just like, dude, don't blame it on that. Yeah, go ahead.
You already got those teams at the beginning. You're fine. We've already got those teams at the beginning of the year that kind of started out struggling. Like no one expected the Clippers to be at 500.
Yeah.
The Portland Trail Blazers just dipped under 500. There's some teams with some talent that aren't producing the way they expected. And another thing I gotta say real quick, shout out to Doc Rivers, because this is probably his best coaching job of his career. You winning games with what you have is nothing short of a miracle. So I have to give him that. But if you don't get Simmons out on the court to prove he can still play and he's still an asset and all that, then you're not going to get one of these guys that you want from the Trailblazers, whether it be Lillard or McCollum. You're not going to be able to say, well, we'll trade you Ben Simmons and a combination of this and that to the Clippers for, say, Paul George.
And
something like that.
Yeah. And as much as he's doing really well coaching-wise, he's to blame too. After the loss last year, you remember what he said? I don't know what we're going to do with him. You can't say that. You can't say that.
That's the thing. He said he didn't know what they were going to do with him after he went 3 for 14 from the fucking free throw line. I know. It's kind of hard to say I know what I'm going to do with this kid when he gets into a situation and he can't even shoot a fucking free throw.
Yeah.
Like Shaq is a better free throw shooter than this guy, and you're sitting there after a tight game that you lost where your star went 3 for 14 from a free throw line.
Yeah.
And they ask you, can he be the point guard on a championship team? What do you do with him? And you say, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the right answer. I'm not saying it's like the PC answer or whatever, but it's the appropriate answer.
No,
because when somebody struggles that badly in a situation where you could have had that game wrapped up, and then your season is done and you're walking off the court and these people are in your face 5 minutes after asking you questions, you answered them appropriately. I don't really blame Doc Rivers for that.
No,
I blame Ben Simmons and his reaction.
Too soft. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, no, because I hear you. I get it.
You make a ton of money. Yeah. You are an all-star. You are at least considered to be the second best player on a championship caliber team with Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
And you go out there and do this, and then your coach responds, and you get hurt over it.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not like people are to this day still say how fragile Joel Embiid is, and he's still out on the court working and producing and doing everything he can, and he could give a fuck less about what people say because he knows what he's capable of.
Yeah.
That's what a star does. That's not what Ben Simmons is doing in this situation. So if you're going to get paid like a star, then you have to have the thick skin of one like Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
If you don't, then we might as well just void your fucking contract and send you to the streets now because we'd use that money on somebody that actually is one.
Seriously, yeah.
No lie.
Yeah. We want Lillard. Remember that? That was cool. The crowd going, we want Lillard.
During the Portland game. Yeah. That was fucking amazing. And I do. I really do. I think he'd be a great fit with this team. I think anybody worth the money they're making could come in and be a huge contributing factor to a team that is already off to a great start. And it's a shame that Ben Simmons doesn't want to be a part of it, but
it's crazy because I don't think this has ever happened. I don't ever remember witnessing something like this.
Not really.
It's absolutely incredible that this guy won't get on the court. Like, come on, it's weird. And of course it has to be the Sixers,
even last year, James Harden didn't want to report, didn't want to do this, didn't want to do that. And when he finally did show up, he was severely out of shape and, he was on the court doing what he could. And within weeks of that, he was basically traded to Brooklyn and that was that.
Yeah.
I feel like if Ben Simmons came in and did something along those lines and showed that he could still play, the same thing would happen. Somebody would say, "Okay, he's ready to play. He wants to. I need him. What do you want?"
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's James Harden. I'm not.
No.
But I'm saying it could be a similar situation if he would allow it to be.
Yeah.
And he's just not.
He's not.
It's just either because he doesn't want to practice or he's supposedly having mental issues or whatever. I even saw some weird report that was saying that Rich Paul and some of his Russian constituents were using Twitter bots to try to facilitate a trade for Ben Simmons and his other client, Furkan Korkmaz, who I actually like.
Yeah.
But it's like, Jesus, we're going to go back to Twitter bots. Didn't this already happen with like Brian Colangelo a couple of years ago where he was talking shit on the entire team? We're going to do this again? Yeah. Like, no, we got rid of him. The commissioner stepped in and got rid of him. Do this with Ben Simmons and Rich Paul while you're at it. Fuck that guy. I don't give a shit if he represents LeBron or not. Get the fuck out.
I mean, we talked about toxic players when it comes to Odell, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Like Ben, who would want to sign him? You know, it's an embarrassment. It really is. It's sad. It's sad that, like, who is his counselors? Who is his advisors? Who is telling him that it's a good idea to do this? To blame it on mental illness at this time, this era in 2021? Like, no. You know, people honestly, are now coming out that, you know, and they're.
I honestly believe a lot of this because you know, you've seen it before. There are several toxic agents in sports, like Drew Rosenhaus being one of them. Mm-hmm. Rich Paul is quickly becoming one. And it would not shock me at all if he was just feeding this information to Ben Simmons. Like, well, if you say you have a mental illness, they have to pay you and blah, 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 blah. And that'll buy you some more time. They just didn't expect it to go this long. Or they didn't expect the Sixers to say, okay, we want proof or we're taking your money.
Yeah. And what pisses me off, too, is it's 2021. People are finally coming out and saying, I have a mental illness. I need help. You know, they're sharing their experience. I brought it up with the tennis phenom. The list goes on and on. People are finally comfortable in their skin to come out and say it. And this is his excuse. It's like, dude, I don't want you on my team. I don't want you in my gym. I don't want you in my locker room.
No, it's I love that the stigma from all those types of things are gone.
Yeah.
You know, like for those that just watched me yesterday, like myself and Bruce sat here and said, like, I said that I just passed 20 years clean in October. Bruce said he was 9 years sober, you know, as of last month.
Yeah.
You know, I love being able to freely being able to say that without somebody, you know, without somebody giving me the, ooh, you know, I love that my wife can tell somebody that she has PTSD and they don't just go, you know, so the last thing I want to see or hear is anything mental health being used as an excuse.
Bullshit, man. Bullshit.
There are people suffering.
Yeah.
I'm married to one.
Yeah.
You know, I have firsthand experience of it. There are people suffering through mental health problems.
Yeah.
And for you to use this as a ploy to get paid.
I don't even want to think about it. Yeah.
It's fucking sickening.
Yeah.
So again, it may not be the case, but it sure as shit looks that way. And if that's what it is, it's fucking sickening.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stop there. We're gonna leave it at that, and we're just gonna start breaking down the week that almost is and will be in the NFL. And we're going to start with Thursday because we had a shootout that I did not expect.
No,
you know, the Colts beat the Jets 45-30.
Insane.
First of all, I didn't know either team was capable of that. Like I didn't know the Jets were capable of throwing up 30
Scoring
points,
30,
especially once down to their third string quarterback. And I did not know the Colts were able to put up 45. So that was miraculous. But the thing that stuck out, at least in this game for me, was obviously, you know, we had Zach Wilson go down with an injury. And speaking of trades, the Eagles did trade Joe Flacco to the Jets for like a 7th round pick.
Yeah.
And he hasn't seen the field yet. But Mike White came in, played well for them when he got hurt, beat the Bengals with a 400-yard game in his debut. And then he looked pretty good against the Colts.
Yeah.
Threw a touchdown pass, got hurt, came out. They brought in only a guy who can only be described as a veteran journeyman in Josh Johnson. I mean, I think he's been in the league for close to a decade. He's been on like 10, 11 different teams. He even started for an XFL team when they came back in 2020.
Yeah.
And this guy, I think, has maybe 1,500 career yards. And he threw for 300 against the Colts.
Yeah.
In 10 years, he had 1,500 yards. He threw for 300 against the Colts in 3 quarters.
317 with 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a guy that had like less than 2,000 career yards in 10 years.
Yeah.
And as miraculous as that is, it does make me wonder, like, is Zach Wilson really the guy in New York?
Yeah.
because clearly the guys that they put in, whether it be Mike White or Josh Johnson, have played better in that offense than Zach Wilson. Like, or is it too soon to label this kid a draft bust? I mean, he's not exactly Ryan Leaf at number 2, but he's not that higher. He's not that much higher up on the ladder at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I guess with this situation, it's a wait and see kind of deal. We just got to wait because it's, we don't know how well he can play. I mean, look at Matt Jones; he's playing amazing. Like you won't see that. That obviously there's other elements to that. Belichick.
Oh yeah,
but
I'm not
30
I'm not
points,
saying that. Yeah. I'm not saying that any of the rookie quarterbacks are playing very well. Like Mac Jones is good.
Yeah.
The rest of them are not very good. You look at Trevor Lawrence, you look at Trey Lance, you look at Justin Fields, and you think, man, they're just not ready yet.
No.
And maybe Zach Wilson isn't ready yet. But when you have your third stringer throw for more yards in 3 quarters than you have in any game this season, and you're Zach Wilson, I don't know. I feel like somebody in New York is trying to hit the panic button at this point.
Yeah.
They're like, oh shit.
Yep. And then if you look at it, the Colts, like 45 points, like insane. And I think as good as Carson Wentz is as at quarterback, I think he's holding them back. I really do.
I really don't know. I think he's been, considering, T.Y. Hilton has barely played, and their offensive line has been a little banged up. He has done very well. He's done better than I thought he would.
Yeah.
I thought he might struggle, after last year, because even with circumstances being the way they were, Carson Wentz just mentally looked
drained,
shook.
Yeah.
When he was under center, he just looked shook on the field, and he's shaking a lot of that off. He's taken a lot of strides, and
he still has the same characteristics, though.
He still has some of the same tendencies. 2
interceptions in overtime. Like, come on, like you can't do that.
Yeah. He still tries to do too much, but I mean, there was a play against the Jets where it looked like he was going to be sacked, and he somehow wiggled his way free, rolled out, threw a deep pass for a 30-40 yard gain.
That sounds
and
familiar.
Immediately, I was going to say immediately, I looked at my wife and I said, "That's the Carson Wentz I remember." She's like,
2017,
"Me too." That's the MVP candidate that I had remembered. That's something that you have not seen from Carson Wentz in years.
Yeah.
So while he does have the same tendencies and you see them, you also see a little bit of what made him all that money.
Yeah, that's true.
What made him so good in 2017. You're starting to see a lot of that come back. He's throwing deep more often. He's getting away from what looks like surefire sacks and making plays out of them. He's moving a little better. He's making better decisions. He still has those little moments here and there where you see like, it's like good Carson, bad Carson, good Carson, bad Carson.
Yeah. I mean, they should be a 6-3 team. They're 4-5. And the reason they are 4-5 is because of Carson. So consistency is the key, and he's not consistent.
You got to blame the kicker for at least the Ravens game.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
he missed like 5 field goals, and they ended up losing in overtime. So you kind of need to blame the kicker for that. But it's
tough.
It's a situation where you can still see why the Eagles traded him, but then you can also see why the Eagles paid him this year, which is something that you hadn't seen even in the last year they went to the playoffs. You didn't really see that old Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
You just thought there's something different about this guy, and then it got worse.
Yeah.
And now you can see it starting to get better. So I still kind of hope for the kid. I never really hated Carson Wentz.
No.
I just, I wasn't even sure we should have drafted Jalen Hurts when we did. I'm not even sure we should have, but
didn't help.
He definitely showed a lot of regression last year amongst every other problem that had happened.
And that's why the Raiders haven't
digging his way out of it. And being back with Frank Reich probably helps. I mean, he was the offensive coordinator in 2017, so he knows Carson.
And that's why the Raiders still haven't signed Derek Carr to another, extension here. We made the mistake with Carson Wentz, and we're paying for it. Literally, we're paying for it. So,
well, at least until next year.
Yeah,
at least until next year. Yeah,
we'll
be paying for it.
We need that draft pick too. So, come on, Carson, we're rooting for you, bud. What is it? 73 completion rate or something? I don't know what he needs to do, but there's.
I think it's just a playing time thing. Like if he ends up,
yes.
I think it's 73% of the snaps for the season, and we get a first round pick. So I'm rooting for him for that reason.
Come on, man, don't get hurt.
I also see him starting to dig his way out of a lot of that Jekyll and Hyde shit that he was going through, where it was and Derek Carr's a lot like that too. He's very Jekyll and Hyde. He makes these great plays and then he makes these bonehead decisions.
Yeah.
And it's just it's good to see him kind of clawing his way back.
Yeah.
Because at a point he really did look like something special.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not his last year in Philadelphia, but
MVP caliber,
I mean, I want to say hands down he was the MVP in 2017 until he got hurt.
Yeah.
And then, obviously had he stayed healthy, he would have been.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't the same for a couple of years. And some of it had to do with the team, but some of it had to do with him as well. He was just making different choices.
But you got to remember this. They played the Jets. Kind of like the Eagles, they played the Lions. We put up 44, they put up 45. So,
yeah,
That's
true. That's true.
We'll see. But back to your point, the quarterback situation with the Jets, it's must-see TV, dude.
It really is. I mean, I'm not saying Josh Johnson is your answer, but from what you've seen and maybe as the season progresses or as Zach Wilson gets healthy, things change. Mike White might be.
Yeah.
He played well for them when he had to come in for Zach Wilson. Then he had a tremendous debut. I know he threw a couple interceptions, but he also threw for 400 yards, and they beat the Bengals because of it.
Yeah.
And even started out this game well, and then couldn't return. So he might end up being that guy. And if he is, I don't know what the hell you do with Zach Wilson at this point.
Might be a good trade bait for Joe Douglas.
You think the Panthers would be willing to take a chance on another former Jet?
I mean, something's got to give.
They took Darnold, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson might be an upgrade. If you ask New York, he is. But
it's going to be interesting.
It's definitely something to watch going forward. I do like what I've seen from Mike White. I haven't really liked a lot of what I've seen from Zach Wilson, but still a long way to go. I mean, this is technically the halfway point, but there's an extra game. Usually this would be the mid-season break, but now there really isn't, unless when we get to halftime of the 1:00 games, that's your mid-season break. We now have 8.5 of 17 games played.
Yeah. And this is the first season, right, with 17 games?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. It's going to be 17 games and expanded playoffs, so it's definitely going to be interesting. And there's some interesting matchups this week. A fun fact for Week 9: there have never been this many Super Bowl rematches in any week of an NFL season.
Huh? That's a cool little.
Yeah.
Thing
I mean, our first game is not one of them. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
Our first game is actually the Falcons going into New Orleans to take on the Saints, who last I heard are starting Trevor Siemian over Taysom Hill this week. Yeah. And this is it's like I want to pick the Saints, but I don't know how much faith I have in Trevor Siemian.
Yeah. That's a good point.
This one's tough.
Yeah, and you got to look at the Falcons too. I mean, Ridley, I don't think he's playing. This is going to be the second straight week. Who's their running back? Like, is it Mike Davis?
It's supposed to be Mike Davis, but more and more it's Cordero Patterson.
Yeah,
like Davis.
He's their team.
They
Other
even
than Matt
asked,
Ryan, yeah.
I think it was this week, they even asked him, like, don't you get tired of, playing 3 positions in every game? It's like, you're a running back, you're a wide receiver, you're a kick returner. And he's like, hey, if my mom could work 3 jobs to support us, I could play 3 positions. It ain't no big deal.
What a great answer. Yeah.
And that's why I love having him on my fantasy team. That's one hell of a guy.
Yeah.
And you can put him anywhere. It's great.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm going to lean towards the Saints in this one.
Yeah, me
just
too.
Because, like you said, no Ridley. And Matt Ryan has been kind of tunnel visioned in on Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Where if you notice last week, they ended up putting a corner on Kyle Pitts and shutting him down completely against Carolina.
Yeah.
And I think more and more teams are going to do that. And the Saints defense, we already know how good they are.
Yeah. Holy shit, did they look good.
They made Tom Brady look bad, and that's not easy.
Not at that age either. It's insane.
Yeah, exactly. I'm leaning towards New Orleans.
What do you got?
Okay.
Just I'm be high scoring, right?
It might be. I'm gonna say New Orleans pulls it out 27-24.
Okay, I got 2016.
What do you got?
2016.
20-16. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if Trevor Siemian is capable of any more than 27 points. I don't know if he is.
No.
But then we
Go ahead, my bad.
Oh no, you're fine. The next game we have on the rundown is Trevor Siemian's former team, the Denver Broncos, going into Dallas to take on the 6-1 Cowboys. God, that hurts my heart to say that.
Yeah. Let's just
and obviously no Von Miller because he's been traded.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott is good to go after a week off.
Yeah.
I gotta take the Cowboys.
Yeah. As much as it hurts us, I gotta go with.
It pains me, but I gotta take Dallas, and I'm gonna say 30-17.
Yeah, I'm looking at let's go 27-10 Cowboys.
Okay. Cool. And we finally get to one of the Super Bowl rematches. We have the 4-4 Patriots going into Carolina to take on the 4-4 Panthers. And good news for Panthers fans, Christian McCaffrey has finally been activated from injured reserve. The bad news is they're not sure he'll play this week.
Yeah.
So something to look forward to, especially since I've still got him on my bench.
Me too.
But going into this one, I'll start with Nick. Who do you think's going to win this game between 2 4-4 teams?
Dude, Matt Jones has looked so good. I think they're finally clicking. I think he understands why he's there. I think Belichick is finally understanding, like, okay, he's a rookie. We got to do something with him, and they're just clicking. I see this as a blowout, to be honest. I think it's going to be like 27-7. Maybe not a blowout, but I think it's going to be the Patriots. Pretty big. Carolina, I don't see them even with McCaffrey right now. They're not a complete team even with him. So I like what they're doing with the Patriots.
I think if they have McCaffrey, they have a shot because their defense is very good.
Yeah.
I mean, these are 2 of the top 10 defenses in the league. They're not far apart from one another. New England's is good, but if they have McCaffrey, they might have a shot. Sam Darnold looked like a completely different person with McCaffrey than he does without him.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. But
Sam Darnold looks like New York Jets Sam Darnold without Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
So
it's a good point.
Between that and between New England's defense being so good, I'm going to give it to the Patriots as well.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say 28-10, just to be different.
That's close.
All right. So our next game is definitely interesting.
Yeah.
It's I want to say 2 good teams, but the Vikings are 3-4, so they're not that good. Yeah. Going into Baltimore to take on the 5-2 Ravens. And I got to give Kirk Cousins all the credit in the world. He's had a tremendous season.
Yeah.
Probably the best season of his career. Dalvin Cook should be healthy for this game.
Yeah.
Should make a difference, but I'm leaning towards the Ravens anyway. I think they're just too good.
Yeah.
Especially defensively, I think they're just too good.
We've been the same since the first game, so I'm gonna be a little different here. I'm gonna go with Kirk Cousins and the Vikings over the Ravens. Any given Sunday. I know that's corny and that's cliche, but I can see it happen. I can honestly see it happen. The
just
Ravens,
knowing the Vikings the way that I do,
yeah.
if they win, they're going to win big. If they lose, it's going to be by like a field goal or inside a touchdown, because that's every game. They're one of those teams. They could be 6-2, but they've lost several games by a field goal or less.
Yeah, the Ravens, they should have won. What was the Monday night game? They won that, right? A few weeks ago.
Yeah, against the Colts.
The Colts, but that was back and forth, and it just seemed like anyone could have won that, and they lucked out and they won. I don't know what it's going to come down to, but I'm gonna, like I said, I'm picking the Vikings, so we don't have to pick a score.
Yeah, and to be honest, the Ravens showed me a lot beating the Chargers.
Yeah,
because I didn't think they were going to have enough to hang with that offense or be able to hang with them just putting up points, and they beat the Chargers like badly.
And when was that? Was that?
I want to say
wasn't last week.
Was it?
No, that was the Patriots. Patriots beat the Chargers. So the Chargers
the week before they beat the Chargers, and then I think they had their bye. So
we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But go Vikings. Skull. Skull. Skull.
I mean, I hope Adam Thielen has a big game because he's on my fantasy team, but that's neither here nor there. Now the next game is the in-state rivalry. Both teams actually coming off a loss, where we got the Cleveland Browns going to Cincinnati to take on the 5-3 Bengals.
Huh.
And
I
got to be honest, like I didn't expect the Bengals to lose to the Jets.
Yeah. That was a shocker.
I didn't think, I thought they had finally kind of turned the corner, and we're going to prove that maybe it was their division, because I think they might be one of the two teams that beat the Ravens. I can't remember off the top of my head, but Cleveland, I don't see it. I'm going to say Cincinnati bounces back in this one. What do you think?
Yeah, me too.
Same thing? Okay.
Yeah, well, I got Cincy going over.
I'll say.
Let's hear it.
Go ahead.
No, you go first.
You, me, him,
yeah, you,
whatever. All right. I'll say Bengals win 21-10.
Damn you! I got the Bengals winning. Let's do 27-13.
Okay. Cool. And then let's see. Why'd you jump on me screen? Where were we? There we are. Okay. So the next game this is almost a no-brainer. I mean, if it's either a no-brainer or it might be the upset of the season.
Yeah.
The 6-2 Bills are going into Jacksonville to take on the 1-6 Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
If this game were in England, maybe Jacksonville's got a shot. But it's not.
No.
Jacksonville has not won a game on American soil in like a year or two.
That's insane.
So I'm taking the Bills in this one for sure. I'm guessing you are too, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those kind of beat up kind of games. I think the Bills are going to, take it to them.
All right, I'll let you give the score first.
31-7.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You were close to my score. I was saying 35-9.
Okay. More than a touchdown.
Yeah, so it's gonna it's still gonna be a beating. It's either gonna be a beating or the upset.
A beat down. Yeah.
And now, amazingly, the two teams that were discussing Desean Watson are facing each other this week. The 1-7 Texans, who just got Tyrod Taylor back off of injured reserve, and he will start, are taking on the 1-7 Miami Dolphins. I think that honestly, everybody expected the Texans to kind of be in this range without Desean Watson, but for Miami to be 1-7, considering the circumstances, is kind of mind blowing.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is, Houston actually played pretty well with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback.
Yeah.
Like they got the win week 1. They were ahead of the Browns before he left the game in week 2.
Yeah.
And they've been close, but they haven't gotten a win since.
Yeah. He's like a legitimate journeyman, you know?
Yeah.
Tyrod.
It's a shame too, because he showed that he could, lead a team and get a team to the playoffs. He did it with the Bills, and then everywhere he went from then on, he was just a place setter.
Replaced by a rookie.
Yeah, he went to Cleveland. He was holding the spot for Baker Mayfield. He went to San Diego. He was holding the spot for Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
He's finally back, or at least before he got hurt, he's finally back in a position where, maybe you're holding it for Deshaun Watson, but they're not going to let Davis Mills continue to play when you come back.
No.
The only way you're losing that job if you're healthy is if Deshaun Watson walks in the door, and he's not gonna. And
all charges are dropped.
and I gotta be honest here, I'm almost smelling an upset. I don't know if.
What's an upset? 1-7 versus 1-7. Who do
I know, right? What I'm saying, I almost feel like the Texans could pull this one off. Like Miami's defense has not been what it used to be. Wait, are you thinking that too?
Yeah. If Tyrod Taylor, do we know the actual news? Like, is it a fact?
I had heard this morning that he was off injured reserve. He had been practicing, and he was going to start in this game against Miami.
Yeah. Well, I'm picking him.
I forget. I think I was watching like NFL Game Day Weekend or something.
Yeah. That shit.
But
I got him too. What do you got here?
Oh man, I think the Texans have enough to pull this one out. I'm going to go with them, and I'm going to say it will probably be a closer game, but I'm going to say Houston wins 31-24.
Okay. I got 23-20. Houston.
The not Oilers. Yeah, and even Devontae Parker got moved to injured reserve this week for Miami. I saw that. They thought that was another one of those Michael Thomas situations where they thought maybe he could practice this week, and he got out on the field and things got worse, and the next thing you know, he's on injured reserve. So they're missing a few guys. Texans are getting their quarterback back. Well, not at least their quarterback this season.
Yeah.
Their real quarterback doesn't want to play. So there's that. But
that's my quarterback.
Oh man, and now we get to a game I'm almost sad that I have to pick, and I'm skipping one. I'm sorry. We got one. I got a reprieve. We got the 5-2 Las Vegas Raiders going into the Meadowlands to take on the 2-6 New York Giants.
Damn
indeed.
Yeah.
And obviously the Raiders will be without Henry Ruggs because he is a scumbag. But other than that, they're healthy. The Giants, they might have Galladay back this week. They may have lost Sterling Shepard again after the Monday night game, which they almost won.
Yeah.
I don't know if that says they're doing better or if Kansas City is just struggling that hard, but they almost won. Saquon Barkley could be available. There was a report that he had gotten stuck on a close contact list for COVID, but then he's tested negative, so he might be back. It depends.
Yeah.
Even with all that, I think I still got to take the Raiders.
You have to, yeah. The Raiders look good. They look good. Yeah. Even without Ruggs. I mean, then again, what's his face? Drake and who's the other running back? They're always off and on. They didn't play last week.
Josh Jacobs.
Oh, they were on a bye last week. But
Josh they were on a bye last week. Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake, like they were pretty good. I think Vegas has enough to win this.
Buddy.
It's been a wild roller coaster season for them between Gruden and now this, and now Gruden's trying to sue the NFL. I don't know what the fuck for. Probably because he can't get his money.
$10 million.
Yeah, unbelievable. Like,
or 10 years. What was it? 10 mil?
It was the deal itself was like 10 years and $100 million, and he still had like 7 years left on that deal.
Oh,
and,
too bad.
They're trying not to pay him because they said they fired him for a proper cause.
Yeah.
So,
and
now he's suing, and I'm thinking, just go home, Chucky. But anyway, I feel like the Raiders are going to win. I feel like I'm going to have to give a score here.
Yes.
So I'm going to say Raiders win this game 27-13.
Damn you again.
Great minds.
27-13. I'll go 26-11.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to stay close because we're competing. We're pretty close, right? What am I, like, down 9 points, 8 points?
Yeah, I think so far. I know I beat you by like 3 the last week we did this, and overall I have 45 points and you have 38.
Okay, so it's close. Devin, come on, brother.
Devin has 18, so we're all better than Devin.
Yeah.
The greatest ability sometimes is availability. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
So now we get to the game that is going to break my heart to pick, because we have the now 4-3 Los Angeles Chargers coming to Philly to take on the 3-5 Eagles.
Yeah.
And man, I know the Chargers have been struggling. And Nick, if I can just throw this fun fact in there so before the game starts. The Chargers give up almost 155 yards rushing per game. They're one of the worst rushing defenses in the league.
Yeah.
Run the damn ball.
Yeah. Let's hope. Scott looked good. Howard looked good. I still don't think it's enough.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like Herbert and the offense hasn't looked the same. Their defense is getting gashed.
Yeah.
I'm so torn between being a homer and being, and being
we played
legit.
the Lions.
I know that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if they're willing to stick to that game plan, this is the week to do it, because
yes, that's a good point.
It seems to be the formula for beating the Chargers. The 3 teams that beat them ran all over the field on them.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we could do it, but
hey, Rocky, come on. You got that chance?
I'm gonna pray for an upset, but I'm gonna take the Chargers. I'm gonna take the Chargers begrudgingly, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna at least keep it close. They win 30-27.
I got 33-22.
33-22.
The Chargers.
You got the Chargers. Okay.
Go Chargers.
Again, I hope, but I got to keep it real. So
hope is good, but not this game.
Not in this one, not so much.
No.
And then, all right. So our next game is interesting for many reasons. You have the Kansas City Chiefs coming off a win. They're in Arrowhead. Yep. They're playing the Packers. And although the Packers got a lot of guys back from the COVID list and the injury list, now they're missing Aaron Rodgers, so Jordan Love gets his first start.
Yeah, which is going to be so interesting.
The Chiefs have struggled, but now they're going up against a team that's won 7 in a row without their all-world quarterback, like reigning MVP.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's justified. I think he could be back-to-back, but we'll see.
We'll see, but it's just it makes it a little more difficult to pick. Who you got in this one, Nick? Let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. As much as I want the Packers, I don't think it's going to happen. It's his first game. That usually doesn't bode well for a rookie quarterback. So, will it be close? I don't know. But what you're going to say something?
I was going to say, the way I know the Chiefs have been struggling on defense. That goes without saying.
Yeah. They beat the Giants 3 points. That's
they've been
insane.
horrible defensively. Yeah. That doesn't shock me. What does shock me is they've been kind of horrible on offense.
Yeah.
Like Patrick Mahomes already has way more interceptions at this point of the year than he did all of last year. Travis Kelce has not been the same guy this year.
No.
Tyreek Hill has been very up and down. They brought in Josh Gordon, but he hasn't really done a lot.
The running backs on injured reserve.
The running backs on injured reserve. They found it. They did. What's his name? It's not. No, it's not Frank. Derrick Gore. They found Derrick Gore they used in the Monday night game, and he looked good. So maybe he'll provide a spark. But like their offensive line has 2 rookies on it. There's all this talk of Patrick Mahomes, and now all of a sudden he's having trouble with decision making and whether he holds onto the ball or he gets it out quick or he does this or he does that. And this just feels like the typical Andy Reid team getting stagnant and falling apart.
I was going to say it reminds me of Donovan McNabb.
Right? Yeah. I've seen this before. You've seen this before. Like you develop this great quarterback and this great team, and you give them all these new shiny plays, and you have some success. And then once you start falling short, all of a sudden things just start to, kind of unravel, and usually ends up with the players out the door, Andy out the door, and having to hit the reset button. I don't know if we're going to get that far, but
go ahead. What do we got?
I think with all that being said, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to take the Packers.
Shit.
I'm going to take the Packers to win a tight game. I'm going to have them because I think the game plan that they used in Arizona will be perfect for this game. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers didn't have his receivers, so what did they do? They relied on the running game. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones got a ton of work, and they looked great.
That's another
good
point.
So I think they're going to use some adaptation of that game plan for Jordan Love and just let him make plays here and there. Like off play action, that sort of thing. And I think it's going to be enough between what they have defensively and with Kansas City struggles to actually eke out a win. It'll be close, but I'm taking the Packers in this one.
What's crazy too? I know we discussed this for longer than usual, but if Jordan Love wins, shit. In Arrowhead,
you talk about a scenario now.
That's a Hollywood script. Write it. Book it.
Again, we all know this could be Aaron Rodgers' last season. Yeah. And if this kid were to win, then you would kind of get flashbacks of Favre in his last year in Green Bay getting hurt and Aaron Rodgers coming in and looking good and winning some games. And Packers fans thought, maybe we need to start this guy, or maybe it's okay if Brett leaves because we've got him on the bench. Yeah. It could be history repeating itself. I don't know. I don't know if Jordan Love's on that level, but I think this is a small window to finding out if he is. Yeah. And if he wins, maybe he is. I don't know.
It's another interesting headline, but I'm not going to pick a score here because I'm going with the Chiefs.
You don't have to because I picked the Packers, so we're good.
Yes, sir.
I got a lead. I can dabble here and there. So the next game on the rundown, we've got the Cardinals coming back off of their first loss against Green Bay, going into San Francisco and having the rematch against the 49ers, who they, beaten an ugly game earlier this season. Yeah. And believe it or not, Kyler Murray is a game time decision at this point.
Huh. That's news to me.
He's got some kind of, I think it's an ankle injury or I can't remember what, but Cliff Kingsbury said, he's not going to play unless he can show that he's able to play at a high level. So,
what a great name, by the way.
What, Cliff Kingsbury?
Yeah. I don't know why, but it rose off the tongue there.
It just sounds like a guy that makes his own moonshine. Yeah. You need that hooch, go see Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah. Yep. And so this one's difficult because, I'll be honest, I don't even know who the Cardinals' backup quarterback is. Yeah. I couldn't tell you. I know it's not Josh Rosen because they traded him.
Yeah. That's a tough one, too, because the Cardinals looked really good. They looked to be the best team in the league. They looked synced. They looked, together. Yeah. And then Rodgers comes in. That COVID, my man comes in. and ruins the party. And now they're like, what do we do now? And the Niners are a decent team. They're not a great team. They probably won't make the playoffs, but after a loss like that, that's going to be hard to come back to. But I'll let you pick first.
It's tough. I mean, I know the Niners are getting George Kittle back this week, which will help. Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, whereas the last time they faced each other, Trey Lance had to play.
Oh yeah,
and that was a close game.
Yeah.
So now you're adding George Kittle, Jimmy G, and you might be subtracting Kyler Murray from the other side.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a recipe for a 49er win.
Yeah.
I hate to say it because I know they're 3-4, but they're a talented team. Like, they've got a solid running game. Deebo Samuel is amazing. George Kittle coming back after, I don't know, like 4 or 5 weeks being out. You know, it could, I feel like if Kyler Murray doesn't play, they win.
Yeah.
If he does, they might still win.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
I'm gonna say fuck it. I'm gonna go with the 49ers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the second straight, I guess, upset, if that's what you want to call it, because I mean, the Packers beating the Chiefs wouldn't be an upset if Aaron Rodgers was playing.
Yeah.
But without him, it's kind of considered an upset.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like it's similar with the Texans, if Tyrod plays, like, maybe they have a chance with the Cardinals, I don't know, but going off a limb here, I'm not going to pick the Niners, so I'm going to go with the Cardinals here.
Okay.
But still, it's like, what do you do,
I know this is one of those games that feels like it could go either way.
And after a loss from the Packers, like, that hurts. Like, can they come back from that? I guess we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, you would think, because they had like 10 days off and, all that. And you're thinking, well, how do you not know about Kyler Murray after 10 days off?
Seriously.
But at the same time, Cowboys didn't know about Dak Prescott last week, and they had a bye the week before.
Yeah.
So makes sense, but I don't know. That's one of those games. If the 49ers win, I'm not shocked. If the Cardinals win, I'm not shocked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and so we have yet another Super Bowl rematch, by the way, on Sunday Night Football. We've got the 6-2 Titans in Adrian Peterson's debut.
AP.
They're going into Los Angeles to play the Rams and a debuting Von Miller.
Yeah. That's going to be a tall task. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, the Titans have been tested this year. They got in a close game with the Bills. They beat them. They've played some of the better teams in the league and won, but still, no Derrick Henry isn't.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
I mean, it's a big deal, but it depends on what Adrian Peterson can do for you. I'm leaning towards the Rams in this one.
Yeah,
I think.
Too.
As good as the Titans have looked at times, I think the Rams have just have too much for them, especially defensively. So
yeah, oh, absolutely.
Let's say Rams win 34-27.
Damn.
like Titans hang in there, but
I don't think
it's not enough.
No, I think the Titans. I think Derrick Henry is really going to screw up the Titans' offense, and I got 31-7.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I have to. We got to compete here, Dom.
No, this is true. Yeah. It's just you might not be too far off. I mean, when the Titans played the Cardinals with Derrick Henry, they lost like 31-13. So. You might not be too far off on that one. That one's got me scared. And then, last but not least, of course, we got the Monday night game. Devin Chicago Bears sitting at 3-5. Duh, Bears. They're going into Heinz Field to take on the 4-3 Steelers.
Yeah.
You know what? Now that I think about it,
what,
the Steelers might be another place that could use
Odell.
OBJ.
Yeah, with Juju,
get
out of
here.
They
lost Juju, but they lost Juju Smith-Schuster to an injury for the season.
Yeah.
So they're short, a big time wide receiver. Why not take a chance on him for a year? Especially if you win this game and you're in the thick of the division in the playoff hunt.
Which I think they will be, yeah.
I think they will.
Yeah.
So, and now I know you do too. So I'm going to say, Bears aren't all that bad. They are getting back David Montgomery.
Thank God.
Yeah, which will be good. And if they decide to use him and Khalil Herbert as like a 1-2 punch, kind of the way the Browns do, it might help them stay in the game. But I still don't think they have enough to beat the Steelers in that defense. I mean, and
not
only
at
that,
home.
Najee Harris has really come into his own on the ground.
Yeah.
Like I would. Pittsburgh was another one of those teams. Was like, you drafted Najee in the first round, give him the fucking football, and they finally realized they should, and he has been super productive.
Yeah.
So it makes up for a lot of what they're missing in the passing game, and Big Ben being long in the tooth and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's enough to beat the Bears, especially if Khalil Mack doesn't play, and they said at best he's a game time decision at this point. So. I'm going to take Pittsburgh, and I'm going to say 20-10.
I got 28-13.
28-13 Pittsburgh. Okay. But yeah, I think maybe the Steelers would be another place, at least this season, where Odell Beckham could help them.
Yeah,
make up for for Juju missing the year.
Yeah, and that's a good point because Juju was in something last year with TikTok and all that. He's kind of still of a young guy. He has that immaturity. And Odell, he may be a veteran, but he's still a little immature. So that could be a place where Tomlin can work on him, because
definitely
he's one of those guys you could, say he's similar to Belichick with, how he wants the offense and the everything to be
honest. I want to say Tomlin's in that same category, but it didn't really work out that way for Antonio Brown.
Yeah,
and then it didn't. Well, I mean, it might be better this year, but it didn't seem to be working that way for Juju Smith-Schuster last year.
Yeah.
So that could be a problem with Odell Beckham coming in, but talent-wise,
they need somebody.
He would fit what the Steelers were doing, and he could do everything Juju Smith-Schuster was.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe then some.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so last but not least, I know after week 4 we had given out like the very too soon awards. Like we had announced who our MVP was, our coach of the year, our rookie of the year, that sort of thing. And after week 4, as far as MVP went, I had Justin Herbert. You had Kyler Murray. Are we sticking with those, or have you changed your mind on MVP after 8 games?
Did I pick Kyle? Did I pick Murray?
Yeah.
God damn. Yeah, I'm changing. I'm going with the veteran, Tom Mother Bleeping Brady.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just it's going to be a quarterback, and we'll see what happens with the Jordan Love fiasco and Aaron Rodgers if he comes back.
Yeah.
If so, I may have to change again because I really honestly think Rodgers.
Plus, I mean, we're going to do this all the way up till we're going to do like week 4, week 8, then we'll do week 12, and then we'll do week 16. Because by then, anybody that's good is probably going to be benched. So
yeah, I'm going with Tom Brady here. I mean, how can you not?
Now, I had said Justin Herbert, and I do love the guy, but after the last few weeks, it's hard to keep him as my MVP pick. I do believe, like you do, that it's going to be a quarterback, and it could be a veteran, and I'm going to go with a slightly different veteran. At this point, through 8 weeks, Matthew Stafford is your MVP.
Yeah,
the way he's played for that Ram offense, I mean, it's not that Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods weren't any good when Jared Goff was there, but they are so much better with Matthew Stafford.
With him, yep.
The reason they are not struggling through Cam Akers being injured and having a solid run game is because of Matthew Stafford's production.
100%.
He has made all the difference in that offense, and they are 7-1 because of it. Probably 8-1 after this week, and tied for the best record in football. I find it hard to pick anybody other than Matthew Stafford.
Yeah,
that's
a good pick.
It really he's been so good. This is exactly what I thought he could be if the Lions ever decided to put a team around him,
Yeah. It's something we wanted to see for me personally.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
Because he was such a go-getter, He was such a tough player. He's one of those guys you want on your team.
No, that's very true. He's definitely somebody you want on your team. And, obviously the Rams are happy to have him. Yeah. And I know we had picked offensive and defensive rookies of the year. I had gone with Jamar Chase and Micah Parsons.
Okay.
I was originally going to say Trayvon Diggs, but I forgot he was in year 2. My bad, y'all.
Yeah. Chase, I don't know. He kind of fell off.
And Nick went with Micah Parsons and Najee Harris.
Yeah, I'm sticking.
I kind of have to stick with Jamar Chase. And I mean, he kind of fell off, but he fell off after like a damn near 200-yard performance. So one bad week, but he's been tremendous for the Bengals, and it's hard to really change the pick. Najee is a great pick too. He's been tremendous, but and so you're sticking with Micah Parsons as well for defensive rookie.
I hate picking a Cowboy. God damn it.
I do too. And as bad as the Kansas City defense has been, there's a rookie linebacker on that defense named Nick Bolton who has probably been the best thing on that defense all year long.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got close to 70 tackles in 8 games. He's pressured quarterbacks. He's come up with a couple of interceptions. He's had a phenomenal year on a horrid fucking defense.
Yeah.
Where Micah has kind of faded to the background with the Cowboys. So
but he's a big name.
I'm gonna, just so we don't agree for the next few weeks, I'm gonna go with Nick Bolton because I think that kid has tremendous potential. And at least he's somebody they can build around on that Chiefs defense.
Yeah.
Which is not something they can just, regularly say. Now, for Coach of the Year, I had Cliff Kingsbury. And you and Nick had said, what did you say?
What did I say? I do not remember.
Oh, I had Cliff Kingsbury, and you had Sean McVay.
Okay, I'll stick with that.
You're gonna stick with Sean McVay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the reason why Stafford's there is because of that hot tub moment with McVay, and that's a big deal. And obviously, he is he's just a great coach. He's a good dude. So
yeah, I mean, he's young. He's energetic. He's a great offensive mind, and he's definitely found his quarterback. So it's made a huge bit of difference.
Yeah. Are you sticking with what's his face?
Well, Cliff Kingsbury, huh?
My man.
I think for now I will because the Cardinals are 7-1. The Rams are 7-1.
Yeah.
It's tough. You could say Matt LaFleur with the Packers, but
Bill. Let's throw Bill in the mix.
Nah, I'm not gonna throw Bill in the mix. I'm not doing that. That man, he's a robot. He doesn't count. I mean, outside of that, I might give it to Sean Payton.
Okay.
Just because the Saints are in the thick of it, they're having a great season. They're like 5-2, and before his injury, he made the most out of Jameis Winston. Had Winston finished this season, just from looking at his numbers, he would have had like well over 3,500 yards passing, probably close to 30 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions.
Yep, he's eating all those W's.
he got the most out of Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
I think, and again, in 4 weeks, my tune could change.
Yep.
But I really feel like Sean Payton has made the most out of the post Drew Brees era.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to win with Drew Brees, but when you have Jameis Winston, Trevor Siemian, and both guys washed out of starting positions with other teams, and then Taysom Hill, who, I mean, he's a gadget guy at best. He started a few games last year. He looked okay, but again, I don't really hear anybody beating down doors for Taysom Hill.
No.
Even when they went with Jameis Winston over him going into the season, you didn't really hear anybody arguing like Taysom Hill should be the guy.
No, exactly.
So, just, kind of mediocre quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Your receivers are practically non-existent, and you're still right there in playoff contention.
Yeah.
Right there. Now that you've beaten the Bucs, you're right there in the thick of the division race.
Yeah, no, that's a great pick.
Look at those two teams, top to bottom. Look at Tampa Bay and look at New Orleans, and tell me who has the better team at every fucking position.
Who has the studs, exactly. Yeah,
and they have the exact same record. So, yeah, Cliff Kingsbury is doing a great job. Sean McVay is doing a tremendous job. But Sean Payton is doing more with less.
Yes, much more.
So I'm going to give him the nod at week 8. Now talk to me at week 12.
Yeah, no,
talk to me in week 12, because by then he could be 5-6. You know, but from where we're sitting right now, I have to tip my hat to Sean Payton. He's been amazing.
I respect that.
I mean, who would have thought he was a great coach? He was one of those guys, like the fired coordinator every time something went wrong someplace, whether it be Dallas or even I think he was with New York, and and all of a sudden he comes to New Orleans and look at him now, like that
without Drew Brees. Like that's a big, that's a big statement to say. Like without Drew Brees, a certified Hall of Famer.
And not only that, let's be honest, Sean Payton was probably Sean McVay before Sean McVay.
Yeah.
He was that bright offensive mind that never really, caught on anywhere, and all of a sudden when he became the head coach, just boom, successful. He
went against the grain of salt for sure.
Yeah. So he's like the OG of these type of coaches. And so I got to give him the nod right now, and we'll see how things go.
I dig it.
Without Jameis Winston at this point.
Yeah. It's a big what if.
Yeah, but I think if anybody could do anything about it,
it's him.
Sean Payton's that guy.
Yeah. I like the pick.
Well, thank you. I try to think every now and then. Every now and then it's good to have a thought when you do these things. But I think that's pretty much all we got this week. And do you want? I'll give Nick the floor for a moment if he wants to let everybody know like where he's at, what he's doing, where you can find him. That sort of thing.
Thank you. So, the Universal Wrestling Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at the UW Pod and Instagram at UW Podcast. We also have a website. Go check us out there, uwpod.com. It's going to be we have a lot of good guests coming on. We have a huge TikTok star. He's coming on soon. Nick Harrison. Have you heard of him? Mr. Professor 318. He's the guy that does all the theme songs. He walks into the classroom. He does all the theme songs, the WWE theme songs. He's going to be on. It's going to be so much fun. Dom, again, appreciate it. Thank you, dude.
Oh, no, pleasure's mine, man. I appreciate you coming through like you always do now. So
you got it.
It's always better doing this with somebody else. And I want to thank everybody that's been watching this and will be watching this. And you can always come and find this show as well as Top Rope on YouTube at TRWT parentheses of Fox 10 John. You can come hit me up if you have any questions about sports, about football, about basketball, whatever. Just find me on Twitter at @S_Philly Psycho. You can find Top Rope all over the place as well. I mean, we're at Top Rope WT on Twitter. We have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. just search for Top Rope Wrestling Talk, and you can find us on Instagram at top_rope_wrestling_talk. Jesus, that's a mouthful.
That's funny.
But hit us up. Everything from sports, whether it be wrestling, football, basketball, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't do hockey, guys. Sorry, I don't do it. Not a hockey guy. If you want to hear it, we'll find somebody that wants to talk hockey. But I'm not one of those people. But other than that, anything sports related, we've got you covered. And now that I'm not exactly 100%, but back, we'll be here every week. We hope you guys enjoy, your slate full of games. We hope you enjoy, we hope you enjoy Monday Night Football. We hope your fantasy teams win. We hope your teams win. And if not, at least there's a bunch of other weeks. But until next week, from my man Nick, this is a Psycho, and we will catch you later.
Peace.